This episode is brought to you by Tom Flannery and Laura Neal. Stephen!
Andrew!
Fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
When don't I?
Indeed. Yes. Welcome to a quiet night inside... That's the first time I've ever done that. Welcome to a quiet night inside number 9.
Well, greeted. Welcome
greeted.
to the podcast.
Yeah. That's weird.
How rude. How rude of us. How remiss.
Yeah. To have never done that. And yes, a special shout out to Tom Flannery, who is hopefully listening to this on the way to see Stage Fright, if I've edited it in time. Sorry, Tom, if I haven't. Yeah. We've recorded it in time, hopefully. I don't know what day you're going, but...
Maybe he's on it. Maybe he's hearing it on his way home. You've released it while he was in the theatre.
That would be good. Yeah. I hope you have a nice time, Tom. And thank you so much for your generous donation. So we are going into the scripts again. We're on series 6, and this is episode 2, Simon Says. So yeah, what we do with these episodes is basically look at the scripts, compare them to what we see in the final episodes, and talk about that. And hopefully, without repeating ourselves too much from our initial reaction episodes. And for series 6, we have kind of 2 reaction episodes. We have our immediate reaction when we decided to do a live episode immediately after the first airing of the episodes, which is just full of guff, more or less. And then we went and did a more measured and considered attempt afterwards. So yeah, if you've not heard those and you want kind of an in-depth look at Simon Says, then probably go back and listen to that first. Yeah. How was it for you going back into Simon Says?
Simon Says, aka, you're so vain, you probably think this episode's about you. It's quite the ride, isn't it?
It is. It's such a real ride.
Really, and there's weird bits in it. There's fun bits in it. It's crazy episode.
Yeah,
and it feels like proper twisty as well. Like this is twist central. This is them leaning into the twist thing, I think.
Oh, this is really, really twisty. Yeah, yeah. Kind of you discover the twist, and then you think, oh, the thing that wasn't real has suddenly become real. Oh no, it's a second not real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
hit you with a double.
It's a real ride. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a bit to talk about, I think, in terms of the discrepancies between the script and what we see. Some interesting little changes that might be, good to explore. So let's go through it. So, like, right from the beginning, actually, the opening shots were completely different from what they had envisaged, I think, when they were scripting the directions.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about bloody footprint that come up a few times in the script that there aren't any bloody footprints at any point, because it wouldn't really make sense for there to be bloody footprints, I don't think. Although, having said that, for some reason I had in my mind like bare footprints, but no, it would just be shoe footprints.
Stuff his shoe, yeah, because he takes his shoes off, doesn't he?
Yes.
And then scrubs the floor.
So, yeah, they're actually bloody fingerprints all over the place, which I guess makes a lot more sense, bearing in mind what's supposedly just gone on, I think.
Do we know exactly what has gone on? Well,
no, actually, because is the blood real?
Well, no, they had some leftover blood, didn't they, from when they... Because that's what I think, what's his name says that.
But he sees him, they have a scuffle, don't they? And then him and Gavin, Spencer and Gavin supposedly have a scuffle when Gavin's going off at him about the finale of the show. And then his head hits the floor and he runs off and doesn't know if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
Now I don't
But
know
he's
how
still covered in blood.
How is he? Yeah, how is he covered in blood? Did he sort of kneel down to kind of check on him and find that there was blood pouring out the back of his head?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Gavin just released a lot of blood capsules and it just
around him
went everywhere. Yeah. Maybe he did that before they grappled.
Yeah.
So then he's just like,
oh my God,
you bleed. What a mess.
Oh, he's a easily cut man, isn't he?
Very thin-skinned Gavin.
So yeah, he comes back, and it's more about he's kind of leaving bloody fingerprints on the walls and stuff, and one of those pops up later as well when Simon says that he's got some clearing up to do. The ones on the floor that he's scrubbing, they're not footprints; they look like drips of blood. And at that point, it felt a little bit like, rather than this was something genuine that was clearing up, they looked like guilt blood that he was kind of imagining. And even though he scrubbed it clean, there was more, and then there was more, and then there was more, and then there was more. It didn't necessarily look like it was real blood, because that looked like constant dripping, freshly dripped blood, which wouldn't come from him. Yeah.
It's almost like a psychological cleaning,
quite Macbeth.
My soul.
Macbeth, bloodied hands, kind of.
Yes, the guilt on my hands.
Yeah,
dripping. Yeah, and the whole. So the title, because we've got like some directions for the title, and the 9 appearing as like on the keypad on the buttons for the flats. But actually, it appears. So the first shot is the art behind the Ninth Circle book, and the title, Simon Says, comes up immediately at the beginning. And then there's a 9 in a picture frame that it moves to.
Which is interesting, because what is therefore the 9 that we're inside this?
Well, I think that's it, because I think like in the script it would suggest that the flat is number 9, and then there's probably the realization that, oh, wait a second, no, we've made it the Ninth Circle. Like this series is the 9, so we probably don't need to actually really labour the 9s.
But I want to know what 9 we're inside. We're always inside a 9.
We're always inside a 9. We're in the world of the Ninth Circle. I think that's enough.
Let's go for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it says Spencer, when he's sort of faffing around at the beginning, putting his jacket in the wash and everything, he retrieves his phone from his jacket pocket, or his shirt in the wash, isn't it? Retrieves his phone from his jacket pocket and starts to dial 999. But we don't actually see him doing that, I don't think. No, we just see him pick up his phone and he's like, nah.
And there's blood on me, so no.
Yeah.
When Spencer goes to the phone screen, when the buzzer goes, there's a bit more mystery about who's buzzing in the script. It says there's a shadowy figure. We can't see his face. No, not filmed. He just goes straight over, and Reese is stood there. Yeah, straight on. Yeah, he's there. And there's kind of the interaction that they have isn't quite. No, it's scripted that Simon says that he wanted to make sure. I want to make sure you're okay.
Yes, Spencer's like, yes, I'm fine, thank you.
That's gone.
And then Simon says, I filmed the whole thing, so we've definitely got your side of the story. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
And then Spencer says, you better come up. I'm on the 3rd floor, and that I'm on the 3rd floor is cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a friendliness to that is removed, because it is almost, I think the flow of that conversation almost suggests that he is familiar with him in a way, or like he's more receptive to him than I think he would be, given what we know about his character.
Yeah, that carries on as well as they go into the next bit when he's up in the flat. And they talk about, that's why he had to smash his head on the cobbles. I didn't do that. He said, I'm kidding. Like you said, it was an accident. That went. He didn't say he was kidding. Yeah. And then straight away,
was replaced with "I know."
Yeah. And then the big change straight off here was this change of a line when he spots the Emmy, and he says, they add in this line of, is that the award we won for it? And then Spencer sort of is surprised by that and sort of calls him out on the we. What do you mean we? Oh, voted for by the fans. That was all added in rather than scripted. It was just, is that the Emmy you won? So they added in like this weird.
It's really, because that's quite a significant thing. And they changed the Emmy to a National Television Award, I think, because it's is it the fans that vote for National Television Awards?
Possibly.
Because actually
that's quite a big personality thing, isn't it? About Simon.
Like, oh, he's owning this thing. Is that what we won? Like, I was surprised that wasn't part of the script.
Maybe there was a realization that, hang on a minute, we've missed an opportunity here. Yeah. Him claiming credit for that would be a well in character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was a good shout. And then he does like a bit of a kind of role playing of
acceptance speech.
Accepting, I'd like to thank my mum and dad, my English teacher, Mrs. Wilkins, and everyone that believed in me. And to all the naysayers, you can fuck right off.
And then we get the Chekhov's brain smash line.
Yes. Yeah.
One of the pithier.
Kind of early red flag here. Oh, you could smash someone's brains in with this. Yeah, okay. Which, yes, I suppose is a Chekhov's. It's a Chekhov's
trophy, isn't it?
Chekhov's trophy, but also Simon is very aware that this is going to be used later.
Yeah,
it's part of a plan him and Gavin have hatched, isn't it? So
yeah,
yes. Then we learn about the podcast.
Yeah, that was not scripted, was it? They've dropped that in.
The name of it.
Yes. Oh yeah, I have a podcast. It's called Circumventing.
Yeah.
Not Squaring the Circle.
Yes, which we later hear that it's called Squaring the Circle. But I think Circumventing, it's a clever name, that. I like it.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's like the ninth circle. And it's venting, because everything is a complaint, more or less.
Do you think it became circumventing? Because they must have really loved it to start with. To start this podcast, they must have loved it. And then they got darker and darker and more twisty the more that this show went on, and it was all ruined by the finale. But right, that's it. This is dreadful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some ideas about how this series finished. the lack of people.
You do. Yeah.
Maybe the damp squib that was plodding on could have been
because
theatre full of people.
You just wanted a theatre full of people burning.
And I'm willing to present that to Steve when we go to see Stage Fright. Have you got your fake blood capsules?
I've got them. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I wonder, it is the kind of thing. Yeah, is it a podcast that would start as a celebration of the show? Or does it start almost immediately with an analytical critique that is constantly with I wouldn't have done it like that, I'd have done it like this.
Maybe.
And then that sort of just naturally flows into...
But then what? And I know people are like that, aren't they? People do that. And I find it really odd. But honestly, this clearly isn't for you. This program is not for you. If you are finding something to pull apart in this critically, negatively every week, maybe stop.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Because there would also be fans. And they're like super fans.
Mm-hmm.
In the, like with Gavin and Simon.
Getting DVD signs, they know everything. Yeah.
Details that Spencer is completely unaware of.
Yeah.
Or has forgotten about or whatever. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, then it's more or less true to script for a bit. The change, well, maybe you should be getting on your way to, or maybe you should be making a move.
Yes.
Which I thought was, when you think about if you think about the episode as like the game playing going on, and it's almost like a bit of chess, like actually making a move. Mm-hmm. A nice,
I like that.
Not massively significant, but like, just a nice sort of part of
that. And then when they get up in the morning, there's a bit of a change with Simon's behaviour. He's not sitting on the sofa. He's actively making coffee.
Yep.
When Spencer gets up. And they change a little bit of the exchange about him using Gavin's material. So we lose the bit about plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read it. It's unsolicited material. It's not permitted. He doesn't say I'm not permitted to even look at it. He just says my agent would never allow it.
Yeah,
which makes more sense. Like he could look at it,
which is in the script because it's almost a repetition there. Because the next line is, even so I can't read it, my agent wouldn't allow it, and he's already said I can't read it. It's unsolicited material, and I'm not permitted to even look at it.
We also lost the bit about Gavin being at the bottom of the Thames.
Oh, didn't we? This bit. Yeah, Gavin's not going to accuse you of plagiarism, is he? He's at the bottom of the Thames.
Which is a shame, because there's a callback to that line at the very end about them being in the very last line, isn't it? Or one of them, I could just steal their ideas and dump them in the Thames.
Yes.
So it's a shame that line went.
I think there was another reference to
dumping people in the river.
Well, when Simon's telling Spencer what he's done with Gavin's body and why he hasn't just left him there, he threw him in the Thames because who's going to care about another drunken guy just falling in the river? So there's enough of a callback opportunity there.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Yeah, that's all right.
In the script, Simon says, from my... are you threatening me? I deleted that footage, remember? Yeah, from my phone. It's still in my iCloud. That was just switched to the cloud. I guess it would have felt a bit like an Apple TV drama. An Apple TV Plus one, if you're mentioning Apple products by name. This isn't Ted Lasso, no matter how much Nick Mohammed might be in it.
Yeah. And I think there's an example of, an exception to the rule of always be specific, because actually there's something about calling it the cloud or like
in the cloud.
Yeah. And always putting it's like Bryn and the YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good exception to that rule. And just going back earlier there was an insignificant cut, but Spencer saying there isn't going to be a meeting when he's talking about having the agent round. I'm going to call her now and tell her it was all a misunderstanding. That's cut out.
Okay.
And then Simon says, but what about my podcast? Instead of, and what about my podcast?
Oh,
and I think the but feels, it's a nicer kind of, but what about my podcast? As opposed to, and what about my podcast? I don't know. There's a difference to the tone there.
I would also like it known that at no point, I don't think we ever hassled Reese or Steve to come and talk to us.
No, we haven't. No.
We haven't.
I think
so. This isn't about us.
In many ways, we've been the opposite of that, and haven't
too terrified. All we had to do was maybe ask at one point. I think.
Yeah, but no, I saw this as a warning shot. This was
don't get any ideas, guys.
Yeah. Just stand your ground, stay away. Yeah.
As I said, you're so vain. You probably think this whole episode was written to warn us.
Yeah, that's what I think. Almost certainly.
We managed to write one yet to keep those creeps away.
Yeah.
No, I'll put one together. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll make our thoughts known. Loretta has a little line cut when they're talking about how people hated the ending, I think. the good news is I put a quick call in to Mitch at AMC and he was thrilled with the idea. You know, the network got a lot of stick after what you did last time. That bit's cut.
It also, this little section does have one of my favourite Inside Number 9 lines. You said you'd rather cut your own dick off and sit in vinegar and go back to Ninth Circle. And now I'm wondering if Reese is thinking the same thing about Inside Number 9.
There is a lot of meta. Is this about...
Reese, is it true that you'd rather cut your own dick off and sit in vinegar than write Series 10?
Yeah. And I mean, what's this? This is Series 6.
Yeah.
/7. I'm not sure whether this was originally
somewhere in there.
But and you do get the line about you've not been renewed for another series. You've been renewed for 2. And we'll come up with ideas.
We'll figure something out.
We'll throw someone in the Thames, steal their ideas and throw them in. There was an additional biscuit fetching that wasn't in the script.
Oh, that's 2 episodes in a row that we've had unexpected biscuits.
Maybe they were hungry when they were
biscuits in this one as well? Yep.
Yeah. Simon goes to get some biscuits.
Yep. That allowed him to kind of exit and let them have a little bit of a quieter conversation that he could then butt back into.
Yep.
Afterwards. We then find out that this was the original one was originally supposed to be called squaring the circle rather than circumventing.
Yep.
I really it's not a line change, but I really like how that phrase "piece of shit" is aimed at Simon.
Yeah.
It says, I think he means piece of shit, but he definitely says it at him.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Good.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
They took out a reference to Ed Sheeran being in Game of Thrones.
They did. Yes. When Simon's saying...
Simon
says...
I think it's right. I don't think it's right to be auctioning off parts for the fans. Just one part, like Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. That was a good idea, wasn't it? This is the real thing. It isn't cosplay.
What does that line mean?
I don't know, because
was that sarcasm? That was a good idea, wasn't it? This is the real thing.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell whether he's agreeing or disagreeing that.
Yeah, you can't tell without the tone of how it's said. I also thought, do you know when Simon does his little accent, does his little performance?
Yes.
My family has been wronged. Dante! It sounds like Bobby in...
Bobby! It does.
In Deadline.
I also like that this little bit has a spoiler for the bit that he does his audition for later as well.
Yes.
There's a role in the new episode of The Baron. He turns on his brother, kills him, and straight away seduces his brother's wife without giving away too many spoilers. It's
all in plain sight. And I noted when Simon says he's doing his podcast, he says, "So get voting, guys. It's our show now." It was like very similar to that moment in Wuthering Heist.
Yes, you're with me now.
You're with me now, and you're my wife now.
I also thought that he didn't really shake his head in despair. It was more of just a resigned look.
Yes.
Of this is now what I'm in, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm stuck in this situation. Yeah, there was some directional shifts.
Yeah, we didn't see
there's a
him.
whole scene that's missing.
Yeah, we don't see him thinking about smothering him.
No, which is like it's almost like they've removed a Chekhov's smothering there.
Chekhov's cushion.
Yeah. Because it's clothes on a ghastly severed head on a shelf, the head of Thaxus.
Yeah, we don't see that till later, do we, Thaxos's head?
No.
until
pull out to find Simon asleep in the spare room. The door inches open and Spencer appears in his nightwear. I've just got an image of him in like sort of negligee
or a far too short what's the word, like dressing gown.
Yeah.
Silk dressing gown.
Yeah.
And he's not got any underwear on.
Yes.
And these are the pictures that Simon's got.
Yeah, exactly. They are real. He's holding a cushion. He approaches the sleeping Simon with the cushion. He hesitates, then leaves the room. Simon opens his eyes and looks to the door. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
The thing is, if that had happened, then he's aware that this is going on, and so he probably wouldn't have put himself in the position later on to be smothered to death.
No, that is true.
Let's stay away from all soft furnishings.
Yes,
Note to self,
man.
Spencer can't be trusted around cushions.
Yes, his weapon of choice is a cushion when he's got a house full of Emmys and BAFTAs and whatever.
And what we get now is a montage.
We do, a lovely montage. Yes, as the grapefruit is cut in half. It's just, yeah, I just love that idea of I only eat a grapefruit when I'm writing.
Yeah. It's part of my process.
I wonder whether that's true for either Steve or Reese.
Yeah.
Or
neither of them strike me as
a grapefruit
people.
Do you think they're on statins?
I think so. Reese, just because he's so angry. He needs something to keep feeling going.
Yeah. And yeah, we hear in this montage lots of Simon speaking on podcast episodes, which isn't scripted, the actual things he says. I don't think.
I don't think so, no. No, because like it says we see just the screen with the poll on it.
Yeah.
But he's also talking about running that poll and announcing that to his listeners.
Yes.
The incredible results.
It's a big win for Yes, isn't it?
It is a big win.
Should Simon audition for the Baron? It's not should Simon be the Baron. It's should he audition.
That's true. Yeah. He's got this opportunity to make anything happen right now, and it's just to get an audition.
Yeah.
This is like The Office when in his fantasy second life, Dwight is still just the assistant to the manager.
There's something nice about that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. And then the buzzer goes, the door buzzer goes after Spencer sends the email with
yes.
Is it
the new
ninth circle ending? And in the TV version,
as opposed to the radio,
as opposed to this written one, Spencer imitates Simon. Says, "Sorry, Spencer, I forgot my key."
All right.
But yeah, in the script, he answers and says, "Did you forget your key?"
Mm-hmm.
And this is when we then meet Gavin with his lovely little Scottish accent.
So I was trying to work out. So I wasn't really aware of Nick Mohammed until relatively recently, and I've been trying to work out whether Ted Lasso came first for me or this came first for me.
I think this came first for me.
Was it this first?
Yeah, I think it was.
Because he's great.
Yeah.
And it was
so this was 2020.
Was that Ted Lasso as well?
It was around then, wasn't it? The busy boy.
He was. I think, and I was thinking about, so Ted Lasso in some ways is a very silly idea and on the surface is a very silly program. But that has got a lot of depth to it and some... I mean, a lot of the second series is the story of Nate's descent into
Yeah.
darkness, really. And yeah, I really enjoyed Nick Mohammed, not Jason Mohammed. That's someone different.
He's the BBC Sport guy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Nick Mohammed in that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's a funny guy, a very funny guy.
He's a funny guy. Yeah, good actor.
Yeah, he plays sort of pathetic characters very well.
And earnest and
yes, earnest. That's the word. Not
and I think
pathetic.
that's what actually makes Nate really unsettling when he descends in Ted Lasso, because there's like an out of character brutality to it.
Yes.
Where it's like this feels very unnerving because it's not a natural way for him to behave, but it also felt real. Like it. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, this is unrealistic or this is bad acting or whatever. Like
there was just enough sort of little nudges towards him becoming a nasty little piece of work.
Yeah,
because I guess it was that irony if he was kind of brought up and up by Ted to the extent that he had the confidence to then go, no, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
And you're terrible for me and I want to destroy everything you've built.
Yeah. And you don't belong here because you know nothing about this game. Yeah. And all of that.
Sorry, this descended into a Ted Lasso podcast.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Nick Mohammed.
And then he ended up with quite a big part in Plodding On, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Podcast related.
Podcast related, exactly. He, because it was that podcast that kind of brought everything to a head
between Steve
Plodding On, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And Reese is in the toilet. Steve is being interviewed by a fantastically narcissistic Nick Mohammed.
Well, and it's true. I guess it's just true to this character here, though. The Simon character, I guess. Simon isn't him, but the podcaster is making the podcast about him and dropping in as many adverts as he possibly can.
It's fantastic. Yeah, and he completely not hearing what Steve is saying immediately after he said it. Like,
so where did you say you were from?
Yeah. Yeah. Was it Southport? What does he think it is?
Blackpool
versus Blackpool.
Yeah, he thought it was Blackpool and it was Blackburn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Can you not remember it?
No, I can't remember. The irony. There you go. I just don't care, mate. There's a few little lines cut out here, like Gavin saying, "I wondered if we could talk." It's cut. It sort of just goes straight to him being inside, and then when he's saying it was all Simon's idea, he can be very persuasive. I never thought he'd take it this far. Is cut, and then Spencer saying, in response to, "I just wanted you to read my stories, but he said you just throw them away and never look at them." And Spencer says, "That's probably true." And then, "So you faked the whole thing?" That's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Then it stays pretty much on, doesn't it?
They're just random ideas I had, all inspired by you, of course. Did you like the bit with calculus? That's cut. But yeah, everything then is true to script.
The murder, the whole scene leading up to the murder, I was still very shocked by that whole thing unfolding.
What, of Simon hitting Gavin? Or
no,
stabbing Gavin?
No,
or the actual murder?
The actual murder. The fact that Spencer follows him into the bedroom like that was like, what is
in a
what
sort
is going on?
The submissive way.
Yeah. And I had to say, like, it says in the script after the it says he dispassionately looks at him. Spencer Suddenly, Spencer grabs a pillow and puts it over Simon's face, pressing it down hard. Simon's arms try to push Spencer off, but he's grimly determined. Simon gets weaker and weaker and eventually flops down dead. Spencer gets up and removes the pillow, looking down dispassionately at the lifeless Simon. I think he looked a lot more horrified at what he'd just done.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
I don't think that was dispassionate at all. I think he was shocked at what he'd just managed to do. Yeah. Especially as it went on for quite a while.
I think that was the thing I noticed, was like, this goes on longer than...
I think I remember us saying that the first time we watched it. Like, it was one of those uncomfortably long, almost like the throat biting in Stakeout. It just keeps going.
Yeah. And I guess it's whether it is an accurately long suffocation.
I don't know.
But it's almost the opposite of the chloroform, the active chloroform use.
Good old chloroform.
Chloroform. Yeah. It's been a while.
Always nice to have a callback. And then I noticed that when he comes out, Gavin doesn't suddenly appear as a voiceover talking behind him. He's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Washing the fake blood off of himself, I guess. And then,
yes. And it's weird that he's not asking where Simon is at that point. It's just like,
maybe he's assumed that there was a full-on seduction and he's just sorting himself out.
Cleaning himself up.
Just belting himself back up again. He'll be through in a minute.
Yeah. He's got the job. He had the job. He did the job.
You put this one to Lily. She couldn't come today. She's in Kendall. As Gavin's babbling on, Spencer looks at the Emmy Award in his hand. He considers his options and suddenly raises the award high in the air. Maybe he's just celebrating. Maybe he's just...
Yeah, I don't think so.
Blackout.
They
added in a bit about the Guardian.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
It was something to do with reinvigorating his career, wasn't it, or something?
Rejuvenating his career. Yeah.
And then Variety.
Finally get the ending we deserved. We sat through this entire run and we deserve that ending. It's funny, isn't it? The entitlement.
See,
that's a great little dig at that.
But we got another snotty review off the back of our live reactions to this one, didn't we?
We did actually, didn't we?
And it said, if anything says something about not being able to, about taking yourself too seriously, it was this. And I didn't really understand it. Because I don't think we come off as taking ourselves too seriously at all. And we're back to it here about reading the poor reviews again. We're not like Spencer. We do rearrange reviews.
Yeah, I know. I did think, I'm very, very different to Spencer. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a very confusing review.
Yeah.
Because it was like, they can't have listened to us, surely. Because if we do one thing, it's not take ourselves too seriously.
Or our opinions too seriously.
Yeah. Maybe we do. I don't know.
Let us know.
Yeah. Do a poll. Let's do a poll.
Do Andy and Steve take themselves too seriously?
Yeah, let's do that. Where can you set? Can you do a poll on Blue Sky? Do they have polls yet on Blue Sky?
I don't think so. What they could do is say yes or no alongside a £3 PayPal donation in the comment.
Yeah, so we'll have a PayPal donation link in the show notes if you want to tell us whether or not we take ourselves too seriously. Yeah. Nothing under £3 will be taken seriously.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Opinions aren't free to express. They literally cost at least £3.
And opinions are only valid as yes or no. Nothing else. Yeah, and this is where we get that meta thing of Now, I spoke to Mitch last night and he doesn't want to give you another series. Really? No, he wants to give you 2 more series. That takes us on to season 9. I hope you've got plenty of ideas. Oh, I'm sure I'll think of something. And then, yes, sort of talking about where they could get. Why pay them? There are plenty of young writers who are happy to being paid peanuts just to work with you. Why pay them? You just steal their ideas and dump them in the Thames, which is quite a strange thing to say.
It is. It doesn't. No, it's not a normal thing to say.
No, it's not like just.
I'll just murder them.
It's not a standard kind of cliche or.
Oh, Spencer, you and your witticisms.
You are funny. Oh,
it's just like funny. You.
Well, I'll let you get on and enjoy your morning. And one last thing. Did you have a short quote to give me for the press release? 1 line will do. And there's a little fourth wall break here where he looks straight down the lens and says, I did it for the fans. Which felt like, he's talking to us.
He's talking. I did it for. You can swap that out. I did it for Andy and Steve.
Just to warn them.
Let this be a warning to you all.
Yeah. Good episode. A real ride.
It was. Twisty McTwist.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, so if you want to say anything to us about this episode,
you want to vote in our very expensive poll.
£3 entry. What could I win? Nothing.
Your opinion.
You win your opinion in our minds.
Please don't. No.
But yeah, you can send us an email, aquietnightinside09@gmail.com, or get in touch via Blue Sky at AQNIN. At AQNIN. Say it?
AQNIN9.
That's it. Yeah. Do that. Get in touch there. And let us know what you think about anything.
And for anyone concerned about stage fright spoilers, there will be none.
There will be none.
We are going to see it in a couple of weeks, and we will talk about it straight away, but we will not release that chat until the run is over and everyone has had a chance to see it.
Absolutely. Rest assured. There'll be no temptation to listen to our spoiler-ridden.
Although everyone has a price, and if you're willing to
yeah. What would be the? Are you talking about a ransom of like? If you don't pay us, we'll release it.
If someone says, "Here's 50 quid, release it now," and then we'll go, "Well, has anyone got a higher bid for us not to release it?"
Okay,
and we can kind of
against each other.
See who are these the thoughts that are supposed to stay off the recording.
No, you're just such a money grabber. That's the thing about you. It's all the only reason you wanted to do this podcast is to get.
It's just money for me.
Get really loaded. Yeah.
And every week we have the same conversation. You go, no, Steve, we can't let the advertisers in. I say, look, think of all the money, Andy. Think of all the money.
No,
I'm a mercenary podcaster.
We can't let them in. We've got to
stay true to ourselves.
Yeah. Keep the flood defences up.
It's good to know a lot about yourself, which is why Newman offered the opportunity for you.
You enjoyed Gary Newman's album this week, didn't you? Gary Newman.
He came up on my albums to hear Before I Die. Yep.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah. So
Gary
once again,
Newman.
We've been sponsored by Gary Newman. Or Gary Oldman.
Yes.
Slow Horses. Brilliant.
More recommendations.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I've run out of Slow Horses to watch.
There's a new series coming, isn't there?
Not until later in the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. Until then, we can keep rewatching Inside Number 9.
It's all I watch.
Yeah.
My wife's sick of it. She says, can we watch something else?
No. Read this script.
It's for the fans. I'm doing this for the fans.
I do it for the fans. I am the fans. All right, let's finish. I think it's lip service next. Is it?
Yep. I think so. I mean, I'm just ironically playing lip service to what you've just said.
Just agreeing to me.
Yes, it is.
With a little bit of lip service.
Yes. Oh, which means we get... I guess it won't be scripted in the German accent, will it?
No, but we can watch it.
We can. Well, I'm allowed to... Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to watch it.
Ask your wife.
Not again.
Good. All right. Well, until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.